Good evening. Today in the series of the Secrets of the Talmud, we are going to learn the tractate of the Sanhedrin, page 29a. This was the Daf Yomi of today. And the topic is Peace Leads to Truth. And if you will look, please, at a source number 3, we could see here that it says in the Talmud that two Torah scholars who hate each other cannot sit in judgment as one. So this is what the sages say, and the question is why. Why cannot two judges sit in the same judgment together? How does their interpersonal relationship affect the judgment? How is it connected? So, what do you say? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very connected, right? Whenever these two people are working together, that's going to have to come into play.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. You're saying what the Yad Ramah says. The Yad Ramah says there's something very interesting. We could see it. I didn't bring an English translation, so we will read the Hebrew and then the translation. It is right underneath source 3. Okay? So he says, Ve'idach ekra le'yishnei dayanim, son'im ze et ze she'en yoshvim bedin. Two judges who hate each other, they aren't allowed to sit in the same judgment. Mipnei, because shekol echad mehem mitkaven listor divrei chavero. Because that every single one tries to contradict the words of his peer. Ve'afilu amar, here's a colleague, sorry. Ve'afilu amar etam nachon, even if he said a logical explanation, idea, eino sam et libo lirot et dvarav im nechonim hen ve'im lav. He doesn't pay attention to analyze the other judge's words to see if they are correct or false. And then it says, "Ve'yenimtza hadin nigmar shelo lahalacha," and then the judgment is going to go all wrong. So this is what Yad Ramah says. Yad Ramah actually says a very interesting chiddush. He says, but when there is a problem with an absence of a peace, this also leads to an absence of truth. Because that the Talmud is describing here a very grim situation of a discussion that is not it is not logical. It's not topical. Every side has got an agenda against the other side. So he doesn't even listen carefully to what he's saying. And he just discards what the other judge is saying just because but he said it. So when there are two judges who they act in such a way, so there is no point to sit together in a judgment, because it also affects the judgment itself. So this is what the Talmud says. Now, if this is a negative description of what could happen if it is two judges who hate one another. However, when one brings a peace and it tries to understand the other view, so with the peace it also brings truth. As it says in the prophet of Zechariah, it says, love, truth, and peace. So when there is peace, it also brings to a truth. Now, we're going to see a couple of examples for this idea. Okay, it says that divrei Torah aniyim b'mkomam v'ashirim b'makom acher, that the words of a Torah, if you have to analyze the words of a Chazal and to compare them to different places where Chazal said it, and this is actually one of the secrets of studying a Talmud. It is actually what the Tosfot does. The Tosfot tries to compare different places in the Talmud. If Chazal said in one tractate one thing, and in a different tractate is something that seems to contradict, so the Tosfot tries to bring it together and to try to see what the truth is. So one of the ways in studying a Talmud is to see the large picture, to see where else a Chazal you talk about the same topic. So let's say you go on a short journey to the tractate of Eruvin, and then we are going to go to the tractate of Brachot, and then B'ezrat Hashem we are going to see this idea from different angles, that a piece leads to truth. Okay, so who wants to read where it says section B, Eruvin 13b.
Okay, go.
אמר רבי אבא אמר שמואל, 3 שנים נחלקו בית שמאי ובית הלל, הללו אומרים, הלכה כמותנו, והללו אומרים, הלכה כמותנו. יצאה בת קול ואמרה, אלו ואלו דברי אלוקים חיים הם, ההלכה כבית הלל.
Terrific. So would you like to read also the English translation underneath, where it says number 1?
Rabbi Abba said that Shmuel said, for 3 years Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel disagreed. These said, the halakha is in accordance with our opinion, and these said, the halakha is in accordance with our opinion. Ultimately, a divine voice emerged and proclaimed, "Both these and those are the words of the living God." However, the halakha is in accordance with the opinion of Beit Hillel.
Thanks. So, we're going to see the reason why the Bat Kol is said with the halacha is according to Beit Hillel. Please, I continue to a source 2.
The Gemara asks, since both these and those are the words of the living God, why were Beit Hillel privileged to have the halakha established in accordance with their opinion? The reason is that they were agreeable and forbearing, showing restraint when affronted, and when they taught the halakha, they would teach both their own statements and the statements of Beit Shammai. Moreover, when they formulated their teachings and cited a dispute, they prioritized the statements of Beit Shammai to their own statements, in difference to Beit Shammai.
Thank you. So, what question could you ask on a source 2 about the reason that the halacha was established to be according to Beit Hillel?
What does this reason have to do with halakha?
Very good, very good. It is very nice that Beit Hillel they had a good midot and they were filled with menschlichkeit, right? They were really. It says that they were agreeable and forbearing, but we are dealing with truth, right? We have to know what is the halacha, right? So it is very nice that Beit Hillel, they were very pleasant people and everything, but how does that help us to paskin the halacha, right? So who would like to answer?
But sorry, maybe I didn't get the question right. You mean like why we in most of the cases, because not all the cases, we follow in Beit Hillel, or what was the question, or how does help Paskinim?
The question is that it says that there was a big dispute between the Beit Hillel and the Beit Shammai. Each said that the halacha is according to us. So at the end there was a divine voice that right, said the halacha is according to a Beit Hillel. So the Gemara tries to understand why. What did they do in order to merit that the halacha is going to be according to them?
Maybe the main merit is that they were presenting both of the statements, like from one side, from the other side, given the ability to make the right decision.
Great. So this is the answer. So the question it was just before the answer is that why does the Gemara say that the halacha is according to them? Because they were very nice and they were forbearing and they were agreeable and they had good midot.
But doesn't help.
It doesn't help, right? So the answer is that this is the exact idea that when there is peace, it also leads to a truth. That it says over here, you mentioned it. It says that they would teach both of their own statements and the statements of a Beit Shammai, and they would even would explain the statements of a Beit Shammai before they explained this. So they really tried to understand the view of a Beit Shammai. Now, it is very rare to find that one school of thought studies the ideology and the ideas of the other school of thought. Unfortunately, people sometimes tend to discard it automatically. They've got this ideology, they are different, they do such and such, and so if the truth can't be according to them, why spend time to analyze their ideas and their thoughts? But Beit Hillel acted otherwise. Beit Hillel really tried to understand. They studied the view of a Beit Shammai, and because they gave a respect to the view of a Beit Shammai, the halacha was according to them, because they were able to reach their conclusions after examining all of the different options. So this is an example of when peace actually leads to truth. Okay, so let's see an example that a Beit Hillel really tried to study what a Beit Shammai were trying to say. So here we are going to look.
Maybe it was worthwhile add that it not always was like that between Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai. So there was not always peace and harmony between them, and they had like episodes like a really like fight. And we have this example when the 18 cases of halakhic ruling of Beit Shammai, they are actually we follow in Beit Shammai now, and that happened because it was a very dense day for them, and they were just outnumbered. They were voting against each other, and just because nice, lovely people of Beit Hillel didn't arrive in the majority, that's why we have 18 rulings about Beit Shammai.
That's right.
Difficult day.
That's right. Natan. So, if you could please turn to page 3, where it says C in a brachot. Okay, one of the most famous disputes between Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai was in the question in what how should one say the Kriyat Shema? Lying down, or sitting down, standing up? What positions is the right way to say a Kriyat Shema? Okay, so let's see the different views and what it says in the Mishnah. So who wants to read where it says C? This is in Brachot 10b. Yeah.
Mishnah, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel disputed the proper way to recite Shema. Beit Shammai said one should recite Shema in the manner indicated in the text of Shema itself. Therefore, in the evening, every person must recline on his side and recite Shema in fulfillment of the verse when you lie down. And in the morning, he must stand and recite Shema in fulfillment of the verse when you rise, as is stated when you lie down, when you rise.
Okay, so we'll pause a moment. So, according to Beit Shammai, in what position should one say a Kriyat Shema?
Lying down.
Lying on the side. Rashi explains that.
So when one goes to in the evening when one lies down, right? And in the morning when one stands up, because it says B'shoch b'cha v'kumecha, right? Okay, and now Beit Hillel. Okay, who wants to say the view of a Beit Hillel? Look at source 2 on page 4.
This is Beit Hillel Omrim. This is the one.
Yeah.
Okay, Beit Hillel Omrim כל אדם קורא כדרכו, שנאמר וברכתך בדרך. So every single man should do it the way it's like accustomed to do, because the word derech, baderech, is well being used in this pasuk. So yeah. And the Beit Hillel said every person should say Shema as he is, and he might do it so in whatever position is most comfortable for him, both day and night, as is stated. And when you walk around the way, where one is neither standing nor reciting. It's Meiri.
Okay, very good. So the Mishnah could have stopped over here. Okay, we have the view of Beit Hillel. We've got the we've got the view of a Beit Shammai. We've got the view of a Beit Hillel, and this is fine. Everyone explains a different verse, but Beit Hillel try and understand the view of a Beit Shammai. Okay, so who wants to continue here at the end of source 2, where it says Im ken lama ne'emar.
Okay. Okay. אם כן, למה נאמר ובשך בך ובקומך?
Just a moment. This is the verse of Beit Shammai. Okay, if they are trying to understand the verse of a Beit Shammai. Okay.
בשעה שבני אדם שוכבים ובשעה שבני אדם עומדים. So in accordance to Beit Hillel, why it was stated when they're asking the question, when you lie down and when you rise, it is merely to denote time, as the time when people lie down and the time when people rise.
Okay, very good. So Beit Hillel, they take the verse of a Beit Shammai u'b'shach b'chav kumecha, and they really try and understand it because they can't ignore it. So they explain the verses are talking about the time that the people lie down, which is the evening, and the time that they stand up, which is the morning. It doesn't necessarily mean that one has to lie down and stand up at those times, but it is just talking about the time. Now, it is very interesting what the Gemara says. Who wants to read source 3?
3 or the end of 2?
3. Where it says a Bishlama.
Bishlama,
right.
Okay.
Beit Hillel.
גמרא, בישלמה בית הלל, כמה מפרשי תמאיכו ודיימה דבית שמאי, אלא בית שמאי, מי תיימה, לא אמרי כבית הלל. So the Gemara asking the questions, what is the reason they don't ask in this, the otherwise?
Mm-hmm. So we read the translation
okay.
and 3.
The Gemara begins with clarifying the rationale of Beit Shammai's opinion. Granted, Beit Hillel explained the rationale of their option and the rationale of the Beit Shammai's option. Beit Hillel explained both verses and that ostensibly supports Beit Shammai opinion. When you lie down at the time when the people lie down, etc., and the verse that proves that their own explanation is more reasonable. And when you walk along the way, however, what is the reason that Beit Shammai do not state their opinion in accordance with the opinion of Beit Hillel?
Okay, thanks. So we could see over here that the Gemara says that Beit Hillel, they also explain the rationale of their opinion and also the rationale for Beit Shammai's opinion. And because that they were able to respect the opinion of the Beit Shammai, and because that they had peace and a love between them, they were able to reach a halachic conclusion. So we could see over here a beautiful example from what we are talking about, that when there is a peace, so there's also truth. And actually, Rashi says something very nice. If you could turn, please, to here, the middle of page 2. Middle of page 2, there's a Rashi, okay, where it says here, this is going back to Eruvin, that Eruvin gave the Gemara, in Eruvin gave the explanation, why is the halacha according to Beit Shammai, okay? So it says, "V'yeshonim divrehem v'divrei Beit Shammai," that they taught both of their own statements and the statements of a Beit Shammai. So underneath that, there's Rashi, and Rashi says something very nice. Rashi says, "V'shonim divrehem v'divrei Beit Shammai, kishehayu Beit Shammai mevi'im re'aya ledivrehem min haTorah, uBeit Hillel mevi'im re'aya ממקרא Acher, when a Beit Shammai would bring a proof from their view or from the Torah, and Beit Hillel would bring a proof from a different verse in the Torah. והיו בית הלל דורשים את המקרא של בית שמאי. למה בא? ולא היה קל ביניהם. And Beit Hillel would study the verse of a Beit Shammai. And then it says something very important. ולא היה קל בעיניהם. What does it mean? ולא היה קל בעיניהם? What does קל? That's right. We didn't dismiss it. We didn't say, Beit Shammai said it, so it is probably not true. No. They gave respect and they tried to understand it, and they really tried it to study the view of a Beit Shammai. And because that they saw the whole picture, because that they also studied their verses and they studied Beit Shammai's verses, they were able to reach the truth. So I just want to bring another story, which is very interesting. Yeah, it is just underneath what Rashi says. Oh, by the way, Rashi brings the Gemara that we just learned about a Kriyat Shema as an example for how a Beit Hillel did so. Now there's a story, okay? The Gemara said in Eruvin that they explained. They used to first bring the statements of a Beit Shammai, and then they used to bring their own statements. Okay, so there's a story for this. Okay, so it says here at the end of page 2. So who would like to read this? כאותה שישנינו.
כאותה ששנינו, מי שהיה ראשו ורובו בסוכה ושולחנו בתוך הבית, בית שמאי פוסקים, ובית הלל מכשירים. אמרו בית הלל... I'm just going to draw the situation over here, just a moment. Okay, so it's you're talking about someone's whose head and most of his body was in the sukkah. Okay, this is the sukkah. Okay, and his head and most of his body was in the sukkah. Okay, the table is, let's say, going to be over here. He's sitting on a chair. Okay, this is the area of a sukkah. Okay, over here. Okay, so his head and most of his body. Okay, but his table was inside the house. Okay, this is the house. Okay, this is the house. Okay, and the food is here. Okay, this is the story. Okay? Okay, so we go ahead.
אמרו בית הלל לבית שמאי, לא כך היה מעשה. שלחו זקני בית שמאי וזקני בית הלל לבקר את רבי יוחנן בן החורנית, ומצאו יושב ראשו ורובו בסוכה ושולחנו בתוך הבית. אמרו להן בית שמאי, איש שם ראיה? אף הן אמרו לו, אם כך היית נוהג, ולא קיימת מצוות סוכה מימיך.
Okay, great. Would you like to read the translation?
As in the Mishnah that we learned, in the case of one whose head and most of his body were in the sukkah, but his table was in the house, Bet Shammai deemed this sukkah invalid, and Bet Hillel deemed it valid. Bet Hillel said to Bet Shammai, wasn't there an incident in which the elders of Bet Shammai and elders of Bet Hillel went to visit Rabbi Yochanan ben Choranit, and they found him sitting with his head and most of his body in the sukkah, but his table was in the house? Bet Shammai said to them, from there do you seek to adduce a proof? Those visitors too said to him, if that was the manner in which you were accustomed to perform the mitzvah, you have never fulfilled the mitzvah of sukkah in all your days. It is apparent from the phrasing of the Mishnah that when the sages of Bet Hillel related the elders of Bet Shammai and the elders of Bet Hillel visited Rabbi Yochanan ben Choranit, they mentioned the elders of Bet Shammai before their own elders.
Okay, thanks. And this is something very interesting, because there's an argument about the facts. What happened when the elders of the Beit Hillel and the Beit Shammai visited Rabbi Yochanan ben Choranit? Okay, so the Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel said they approved the Sukkah, they didn't say anything. But the Beit Shammai said, we didn't say anything. On the contrary, they said to him that if you are accustomed to perform the mitzvah, you have never fulfilled the mitzvah of the sukkah in all your days. Now, we would expect that afterwards, Beit Hillel would say something to a Beit Shammai, right? If they would say to a Beit Shammai that we heard it, we were there, right? But Beit Hillel understood that this argument isn't going anywhere. The argument is about facts, and Beit Shammai they remember the facts in a certain way, and Beit Hillel remember it in a certain way. So there is no point to argue. So Beit Hillel just let go of it. And then it's interesting because the continuation of the Gemara, so it says, who wants to read source 4?
אמרי לך בית שמאי, אם כן,
Oh,
נאמר וקרא בבוקר ובערב.
Source on the page 3, in the middle of the page 3. Sorry, I didn't say what page it was. Right, Natan. I confused things, sorry.
ללמדך שכל המשפיל עצמו. הקדוש ברוך הוא מגביהו וכל המגביה עצמו. הקדוש ברוך הוא משפילו. כל המחזר על הגדולה. גדולה בורחת ממנו, וכל בורח מן הגדולה מחזרת אחריו, וכל הדוחק את השעה. שעה דוחקתו, וכל הנדחה מפני שעה. שעה עומדת לו. This is to teach you that anyone who humbles himself, the Holy One, blessed be He, exalt him, and anyone who exalts himself, the Holy One, blessed be He, humbles him. Anyone who seeks greatness, greatness flees from him, and conversely, anyone who flees from greatness, greatness seeks him. And anyone who attempts to force the moment expends great effort to achieve an objective precisely when he desires to do so. The moment forces him to, and he is unsuccessful. And conversely, anyone who is patient and yields to the moment stands by his side, and he will ultimately be successful.
תודה, יישר כוח. So with this actually was the philosophy of life of a Beit Hillel. That when they saw that it is impossible to force for a moment, they didn't try to force for a moment. They were patient and they yielded to the moment, and then the moment they stood by their side. So as the story that we just read about the Sukkah and Rabbi Yochanan ben Achoronit, Beit Hillel understood that there is no point to argue about facts. So they let go. They took a step back. They yielded to the moment, and this actually represents a philosophy that they didn't try to force for a moment, and that is why the halacha was according to them, because they were able to understand when is the right time to argue and when is the time to let go of things. So this is a very, very important lesson and a philosophy of life, in a general, not only concerning halachic disputes. So a good evening, everyone.